third one. It's the fourth one.
Catcher.
Ooh, I knew it. Shocked myself there. So this week we've been asking people to send in some questions about addiction and their relationships with family members, and we've had a few good ones come in actually, so we've picked a few out to discuss. So the first one, should we just go straight into it?
Yeah, might as well.
So the first one was, how do you strengthen a relationship after addiction? So I'm guessing they mean a family member has got addiction or partner or whatever. So it's how do you strengthen that relationship? When I think about that, the first thing that comes to my head is trust. So it's building that trust back up again.
Yeah.
And that is something in my eyes that comes with time and constantly proving with your actions that you are doing the right thing, you are working on yourself, you're changing your mindset, you're showing up daily on time and for the right things.
Yeah, I think because I think you can apologise all you want, but if you're not showing what you're actually doing about it, then it's actions over words, isn't it?
It is definitely actions over words, and it's also about, it's all well and good doing it for a period of time and then slacking off and then saying, oh, well, I'm still sober. But if your actions aren't aligning...
Yeah, and I think that almost makes it worse if you are fixing it and then not go back to the way it is. Because then
back to your old behaviour.
You could then go and be like, you could genuinely be sorting things out and it could be a year down the line, but no one trusts you because everyone then expects you to go back to it.
And it's that whole dry drunk thing as well. You can be sober, but your actions and behaviours can still be addict actions and behaviours. And
I think it's just actually taking accountability for it as well.
Take accountability,
I think that's a big part of it.
But for me, it's just definitely aligning those, what you're saying with your actions, and making sure that you are consistent with it. Consistency.
Yeah. And I think as well, like, it could take a week, it could take 10 years. Like,
it's down to the individual.
It's down to the individual. I know people that have been in similar situations and they're still not speaking, like, years and years later.
Yeah.
But it's just, it takes time. I also think don't write it off. Don't expect things to work out, but also don't write it off. Yeah. That you'll never speak again, because you never know.
No. Did you think you'd ever speak to me again?
No.
There you go then, guys. Proof's in the puddings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And spending time together as well, and not solely discussing all the bad shit. You need to remember.
I think it is easy to focus on the things that have happened, because in some weird way as well, you don't have anything in common, because you are strangers to each other in some circumstances. So it's normal to talk about things you know about, which normally is the addiction side. But
yeah, I think, and it's finding things that you've both got in common and learning each other's behaviours and likes and dislikes and the way you are as a person without the addiction there.
Yeah.
Because you might have only known that person in addiction, or you might have known them before addiction, but
addiction's probably changed them.
Addiction changes people, so it's about getting back to the true you and building a relationship from there.
Yeah.
But yeah. How do you think you can best support a can't put my teeth in. How do you think you can best support a family member who's an addict? Go on then, mate. I'll give this one to you. I was the addict. I know now through professional stuff what I'd say, but go on, from your perspective.
I think you have to. I think it goes back to last week that you can be there as much as possible, but you also need to take the space yourself. You almost. I always think to support an addict, you almost need to support yourself more.
Yeah. Okay.
I think you need to be okay in yourself to be able to support the addict, and also I think don't push it too much. Say you're there, and when they're ready, they'll be ready. And I think, but also be very strict and have a lot of ground rules, and don't. I almost think you want to be really forgiving and nice, which you should be, but like I think you have to sort of be harsh to get them to sort themselves out. Like if they make mistakes, sort of make it clear that they've made a mistake. Don't be too forgiving.
Yeah, I think the big word there is boundaries. Make sure you've got your boundaries in place, and don't be an enabler. Don't enable them.
Yeah.
To which that comes in with what you said then is don't just forgive so quickly, because and don't accept their behaviour. Oh well, they're an addict. Well, no, their behaviour is still unacceptable. Just yes, they might be an addict, but you've still got to point out where their behaviour is unacceptable.
It's that thing of like, I understand it, but it doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
I think it's best.
And all you can actually do is, like you said, look after yourself. Say that you support them when they're ready to get help, but ultimately it's got to come from the addict.
Yeah, so I think it's almost like don't be too involved in it.
Just be there when they want the support, but don't also,
because I think being too involved. Yeah, I think being too involved actually can make it a lot worse.
Yeah, it can do, because that's where it crosses over into enabling. But 100% take a step back, look after you, put your boundaries in place, and when it comes from them and they want help, then support them. Show them what support is available out there, but ultimately it's got to come from them.
But I do also think as well, like if it gets too much, you can say, this is too much for me, I need to take a step back, but there's this X, Y and Z out there to support you. Or I just can't do it at the moment.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I agree. I think my brother might be an alcoholic. What are the early signs? Ooh.
I think this is more of a you question, because I don't know.
The early signs. Well, lying about their intake of alcohol, hiding drink, whether even if it's just a bottle of wine, whatever, if they're hiding drink, if they are drinking at abnormal times, or what are perceived as normal times, if their behaviour changes when they've had a drink compared to what it used to be like when they had a drink before.
I think as well, drinking to solve things, like if they're going through a bad time or something else.
Using any excuse to
constantly
drink,
turning to the bottle.
Yeah, depression, becoming anxiety, irritability is a massive one. If you find somebody being really irritable all the time, and just a decline in their mental health, really. An addict will do everything they possibly can to hide their addictions from people, but it'll get to a point where you can't hide anymore. But yeah, if they're doing all of those things, 100%, they might need some support, and just how they genuinely feel in themselves. Also, it's a blame game. Addicts blame everything other than themselves or the drink. They see the drink as the solution to their pain at that moment in time, so they can't see past the bottle, and they blame lots of other things for it. Erratic behaviour, even impulse behaviour that's not to do with drinking or drugs or whatever, whether it could be mad shopping sprees or just erratic up and down moods. But it can also be really subtle things as well. Just like they've started bringing a beer a night in where normally they wouldn't, because that is that's a habit forming there. That's coming in at 5 o'clock and reaching for a beer. Again, that's habit forming that can lead down that path. That can be an early sign.
Yeah,
of
but I do also think
alcoholism.
you've got to be careful because it's sometimes people do just have a drink when they get home and that's it.
No, I know, but I'm saying if they didn't do that
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
if they never did that before, then all of a sudden, if they've had some form of trauma and then they're coming home at 5
Yeah,
o'clock
yeah.
every night and starting to drink when normally they wouldn't, just different, just changes in their behaviour in all aspects, really. But I really think irritability and anger's one, because
I can agree with that from you.
yeah, because I remember sixth form for me when things really started to get bad. Everyone thought I was just a miserable, angry arsehole.
Still are, aren't you?
So yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah.
Good questions. Good questions. Oh,
Number 4, what's
this one's for you.
Go on then.
How do you practice forgiveness?
I think, taking it back to earlier as well, I think it's don't give yourself like, I'm never speaking to this person again, or we got to be best friends tomorrow. I think you just got to take it one step at a day, and if you feel happier to be around them that day, great. If you don't the next day, also it's all right. Don't put like a pressure on a certain outcome, and just take day to day. And also, like I say, like, you don't have to forgive people, but you also do. And I also think it's about forgiving yourself in a lot of ways for being so upset about things. You think you've got to be ready to forgive it within yourself. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Maybe rephrase that.
I think that what you mean by that is forgiveness. Holding on to resentment only ends up hurting yourself.
Yeah, I think being angry, and I got to that point, I was so peed off all the time that I was just like, I'm only annoyed at myself now because I'm just angry all the time.
You're getting angry at being angry all the time. So
Yeah,
with
and you put the
yourself.
pressure on it, and it's just like, there's just no point. What's happened? Sometimes you just have to say what's happened has happened. It's not a reflection on you, because I think you always do blame yourself in any situation like that. It's not a reflection on you. It's not a reflection on how you are. It's that person was going through that at the time. It's their issue. That's how you've got to learn to move on.
If you hold on to resentment and bitterness, you're just going to end up walking through life with a chip on your shoulder. And the thing is as well, with forgiveness is all about yourself, because whether that person that you're trying to forgive has changed or not, if you choose to hold on to that pain and resentment, that person, whether they're changing or not changing, it's not actually affecting them in any way. It's only affecting
It's
you.
like this whole thing where like people say, oh, I need closure. It's like, do you really need closure, or do you need closure within yourself?
Yeah.
It's like sometimes, like, you could still be an alcoholic now, do you know what I mean, doing whatever you're doing, but then what am I going to do? Still be angry and hold on to resentment of everything that's happened?
Yeah,
like,
you might be. I'd still be blackout drunk, and you'd just be full of pain.
You might never apologise or never accept things that have happened, but you have to then say, I forgive myself for letting myself be angry for that long.
But I don't think
now I need to move on.
But I don't even think it's about forgiving yourself, because in that time, you only had the tools and the knowledge to feel angry.
No, but I think you do have to forgive yourself. I think that I genuinely do believe that. I think you have to be like, because I do think in these situations you're hard on yourself, being like, I'm so peed off, I'm so angry. Why am I like that?
But that's what I mean. That's not necessarily, in my eyes, forgiving yourself. That is just accepting that those were your emotions at that time, and that is okay.
Yeah. So it's just a different way of saying it, isn't
Yeah, I just think when you say forgive yourself, it's like you've done something wrong, when having an emotion isn't doing anything wrong.
No, but it still is saying, well, it's letting yourself be okay in that fact. So it is in a way forgiving yourself.
Yeah, it's just different ways we've
explained
it.
So I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's actually about forgiving the person. I think it's all an internal thing.
Yeah, you forgive that person for your sanity, for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to go up to them and say, I forgive you. Like, you know what I mean? It's about how you're.
Yeah, but it's like, I could argue, I haven't forgiven you, but I've moved on from it, and that's it. Like, you don't have to forgive people to move on. It's like you've upset me at that time. I'm not okay with it, but I'm going to move on from it. You don't necessarily have to forgive someone.
But you're holding on to resentment by doing that though.
But it's not holding on to resentment. It's like saying, like, I still think you're a knob at that time. It's not okay, but I'm going to move on.
Yeah, you can forgive and still think it's not okay.
Yeah. But I think forgiving's more, I've accepted that, that's alright.
No, because forgiveness isn't acceptance.
Well, again, it's different.
It's difficult for me because I've got my DBT head on, so unless I explain in depth what I'm like trying to say from a DBT therapy perspective, we'd be here all day. But what I'm trying to say is you can radically accept something has happened, but that doesn't mean that you agree with it, condone it,
But
or
I
even
think when
understand
when,
it.
I do think when bad things happen, you never fully forgive people. You just learn to move on from it. And that's why I think it is. I don't think when things bad happen, you don't forgive them. It's just, alright, that's happened, let's move on.
I just think that's holding on to a bit of resentment because you're always going to go back to that time when they've wronged you.
But I don't. I'm just,
You do it, yeah, but you
I'm
might-
still putting it in the
But
past.
you do in your head,
But I've put
like
it in the
things
past.
like things with mum.
Yeah.
That's still coming up all the time.
Yeah, but that's because mom hasn't done what you've done. That's a different thing.
But she has acknowledged things.
No, that's not true.
Wow.
Well, won't put that in because you'll be funny. But that ain't true.
Well, she'll be fine. Mum wants to come on podcast by then.
Oh God.
She wants to have a three-way discussion in a way where it's calm and we can't all kick off because we're on air.
Yeah, but that's
I think she thinks it's a radio station.
Yeah, but that's different though, innit? Like, I've moved on, you've moved on, she hasn't. So that's a different relationship, that's a different thing. That's not like you can't relate the two together, in my eyes.
Talk about this subject after we've stopped recording.
Right. Go on then.
Huh?
Go on then.
What do you think on there?
Oh, anything else?
Sister spat of the week.
Don't know. Don't know, I haven't really spoke to you this week. I haven't seen you.
Got the ump last night when I told you to stop being pathetic over the group chat.
Yeah, but that's...
And you put something and then deleted it and I'd already read it.
Yeah, because you try and be that, like, mediator when sometimes it's like, to me, it's a pointless thing. It's a pointless argument.
Yeah, but that was my point. It was a pointless argument and it's bitchiness over nothing.
No, but to me...
But to me, it was like, this is being catty about something that is irrelevant when it's actually an underlying issue here. So unless anybody sits and talks about this underlying issue properly, face to face.
Yeah, but I've already have. So I just think, like, whatever. Like, I already have tried and it hasn't got anywhere, so I'll just whatever.
Well, the other party thinks exactly the same.
Alright then. We'll talk about that then. Jesus Christ. Yeah, anyway.
Over and out. We've got a discussion to have. Bye.
Bye.